Something looks a little different about this outlet than most. It appears to be upside down. But is it? Is this a hazard? Is it fine? Or is it better? Stay tuned to find out. So I'm crouched down here next to a low outlet, but the purpose is to inform any of you who don't know, especially homeowners who may see this and think this is incorrect or a problem, that it's actually not. In fact, most electricians would tell you that this configuration is preferred to the standard configuration with the hole on the bottom. So real quick, we're going to identify the different parts of the outlet and why this method is actually arguably preferred over what you would normally see. So this entire thing is called an outlet. Most people know that. Each of these is a receptacle. It's receiving a plug. And another name for this entire thing is a duplex receptacle because we have two receptacles. Now, on each receptacle, we have three different slots. We have a short slot, which is the hot. We have a longer slot, which is the neutral. And then we have the hole, which is the ground. Now, older style outlets are two-prong. They don't have the grounding hole. They just have the hot and neutral slots. And grounding came along as an added measure of safety. And most now are tamper resistant. So that's another added safety measure. So fortunately, electrical is always being updated to improve our safety. But when we have an outlet like this, let's envision a cord being plugged in here. In the typical configuration with the grounding hole on the bottom, our ground slot would be plugged in on the bottom, and over time these outlets tend to wear out. When that happens, the cords can become loose. You may have some in your own home that are like this now and have noticed it. When that happens, if the hot and neutrals are pulled out a little bit, and if we could have some arcing. If a metal object came down between the faceplate of the outlet and the metal, then we could have what's called a dead short. In that case, the breaker should trip, but if it doesn't, they can malfunction, then we could have a safety hazard. So now imagine the ground facing up, like it is in this configuration. When this happens, and if the outlet's pulled out, if something hits it, it's going to ground, and that's what we want. Another benefit to this configuration is that this tends to secure the cord better than when we have the ground facing down. So even as the outlet gets worn out over time, it's not as likely to actually fall out or for there to be a big gap there that could create problems. In fact, if it pulls out, then it's just going to send our hot and neutral in a little bit further. So those are some benefits to having your outlets done this way. Arguably it's safer, and good electricians will often prefer this method compared to the other one that most people are more familiar with. Now, a lot of times electricians will still install them with the normal configuration with the ground hole down because that's what people are used to. But in certain cases, they'll install them this way so they're easy to identify. A good example would be if you have an outlet that is not always hot but is switch controlled, like for a floor lamp. They may install those outlets with this configuration so they're more easy to identify. But ideally, we would have all of our three-prong outlets being this way for added safety. So this is not upside down. It could be considered that, but either way is completely fine, and arguably this is preferred. So if you see this, don't panic. This is a good thing. Hope that helps.